Hello, YouTubers. It's me again with another worldwide premiere. Again, I've been very busy and I've been wanting to get to this, but business as usual and things like that. And before we begin, this video is only for entertainment purposes only and not investment advice. So, anyway, um, here it is, the Jesus piece that I was talking about in some of my videos, um, and I'll get back to um, who made this and things like that. Um, I'm not sure if I really want to disclose the gram weight, because it really doesn't do anything. Um, this is a custom made piece, and you could literally make it any size you want, bigger, smaller, anything like that. I'd like to say that this is a one of one, but the reality is I never signed any sort of disclosure agreement, non-disclosure agreement, excuse me. And even then, that's dubious at best. It's if you have a picture and you send it to any jeweler, they can make you whatever you want, essentially. Um, there's all that stuff I think is nonsense. Um, but anyway, so again, this looks way better in person, and I have fluorescent lighting right now, so it doesn't really hit as hard as it could be. Um, but yeah, I mean, I well, let me start from the beginning. So in in the beginning, I looked at one particular video. I don't even know if that video is still up anymore. But anyway, it says something about there was this guy that he went to Daniel Jewelry and they made him a Jesus piece, and he had a picture, and then the other thing is so he sent him that, and then it ended up looking quote unquote like a monkey face Jesus. I believe that's what he said. And he wasn't happy with it, and he wouldn't accept a refund. And then he went to another jeweler, and that's the one that I got this from. That would help me make this one. And that's kind of that story. And I will say that you get what you pay for, but at the same time, if you do go with like the super high end ones that you see on GQ or whatever it is, not going to throw out any names. They have their following and everything. They don't need my business. And to be honest with you, is when I talked to them initially, they didn't really seem all that interested. And maybe there's a lot of people out there that are kind of tire kicker type of people that have ruined it for the rest of us that really do have money and actually, are interested in buying something. And I'm not going to say that it wasn't like 100% smooth. It was a little bit of reluctance too. I'm sure they get a lot. Any reputable jewelry store is going to get um, just probably just showered with phone calls every day or DMs or anything like that. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I'll go through the other things. I think it looks spectacular. I mean, it looks amazing in person, and just seeing it again after so long, after keeping it in a safe place, um, really brings a smile to my face. And So let me go through the breakdown. So it's 14K yellow gold. I don't do anything um, less than that. And then I thought about 18K before, but it's pretty soft, so it could potentially get damaged. The diamonds here are VS plus diamonds. That's what they said on the quote. So whether it's VS1, VS2, I don't know. But, honestly, the diamonds, VS, VVS, I've seen videos where it's really hard to see the difference between the two, and you're probably paying too much money. All I know is that these are eye clean and no diamond issues like I had in the past. So you can see the bale's made out of diamonds, the thorns are made out of diamonds, and the eyes are made out of diamonds. And initially, I had not wanted any diamonds at all, but then when I went through the CAD drawing and um, went through that process, it kind of looked weird. It might have been just a CAD drawing, but honestly, it kind of looked like sausages with thorns on them. And then we tried texture and things like that, but it just ended up kind of looking weird. But again, it might have just been the CAD drawing, CAD, uh, computer aided design drawing. I don't know what software they used, but it didn't look right. So I was like, you know what? I'm going this far. Why don't I go like that much further? And I think it's tasteful, because I've seen the ones that are completely iced out Jesus pieces that just, I don't even know how to describe it, but it doesn't look right. And yeah, the other thing, so yeah, let me sort of backtrack. So then call up this company. They'll want the non-refundable deposit. Don't recall what that was. And then they'll create a CAD image for you. And I used the picture myself. And I also, it wasn't one-to-one. We had some discussion back and forth. And then after that, they do a wax kind of thing. And then they're basically like, from what I understand, there's like sand, and then they put the wax in there, and then when they pour the gold, and then the sand gets, or the wax gets dissolved by it and displaced by the gold. Then they take it out and they start polishing it and all that stuff. And yeah, and I had talked to them. I wanted a bead blasted type of finish on the face. They wanted it shiny, but I said it wasn't going to look right. So I'm glad they went with the bead blast, I believe it is, type of finish on the face. I'm pretty sure they bead blast the whole thing, and then they just come back with a polishing tool. And polish, the hair, the beard, eyebrows, thorns, bale, and things like that. So as far as I know, there's the bale, that's one piece, the top part, and then there's a pin, which is made out of gold for the bale, and then the crowns, or the thorn, is another piece, and then they probably weld it on or something like that. And this is a hollow piece because it'd be too heavy. I had a specific weight that I wanted, target weight that I wanted. And again, that's up to you what you decide what you want for it to weigh. you know. And then it has a solid back. And I didn't want a gallery back because um, it really bothers me when I look at gallery backs and then the inside of it is like not polished or anything. It's kind of a really big turn off for me. And potentially any sort of like dust or anything could get stuck in the back there and get hard to clean, sort of thing. Um, but yeah, and then there's different phases. There's, you got your initial deposit, then after a certain phase, then they want like half, and then after the whole thing is done, then they want the whole thing. And what I did was, I'm not sure if you can use Zelle anymore, but I think I did that, and then I also used a certified check or cashier's check, not a personal check. I'm not sure if it was certified or cashier's. This was years ago, like probably 21 or 22, I can't remember exactly, but way before all this gold hype, everything made this stuff pretty much unobtainable anymore, or just so expensive that I probably wouldn't do something like this ever again. And that's kind of the thing, is I wanted to make something my own. And not only that, is I wasn't happy with the ones that I looked at. I don't know if it's like a culture thing or whatever, but when you look at Jesus pieces in like Latino type of jewelry stores, I'm trying not to be offensive at all, but it just looks really weird. I don't know if it's again a culture thing, or if they're just not skilled enough, or they're not using the right wax, or whatever they're doing. It's just not part of my taste. And I mean, the thing is when you look at paintings, they look kind of like this. I mean, obviously there's different interpretations and things like that, but it doesn't look messed up unless it was that monkey Jesus restoration from Spain, I think, something like that, painting that was just destroyed, but somehow it became a meme and popular. I don't see any of that, but anyway, so yeah. And then the thing is, yeah, let me tell you about, yeah, I like the way that it turned out, but honestly though, is I kind of wish that the thorns were more of like a pave setting, like a 3 row per thorn type of diamond setting, or 2 row or something like that. Because I had seen like I believe the Kanye piece, and that was like a 2 or 3 row, and that was kind of like after the fact. So it's kind of hard to say, because you want to take your time with something like this, but at the same time, if I had took too much time, gold prices would have gone through the roof, and then it wouldn't have been reasonable for me to get this. So it's kind of hard to say. I mean, it's something that I thought about for years, and I just never really figured out like what I really wanted. And I just figured, you know what? Why don't I just make a Jesus piece that's my own and go with that. And yeah, and it's not perfect per se. I mean, it's pretty much as close as you can get. Sorry, if I look at, you probably can't even see it, but There's like a piece like in the hair on the edge um, that's not quite, yeah, kind of like right in the middle of the picture there is kind of not quite. And I'd sort of like voiced my concerns about that. And they said they might be able to fix that and whatever, but then I'd have to send it back, and I'm not too like crazy about sending it back and potential insurance issues and things like that. And there was an issue um, with another piece, and that video's been long gone, but it was super sketchy. Um, I probably shouldn't talk too much about it, but just stuff like that just scares me about, you know, shipping anything. And honestly, like today with today's prices and what I know today is kind of not necessarily something I'd really want to do anymore. Um, and you do pay a premium. I mean, probably paying like, if normal things are like twice the price, you're probably paying like three times the price at a minimum, something like that, for all the designs and everything to make it your own. And not only that, it might not be desirable. If you got like your initials in there or anything like that, people don't really want that. People want their own stuff, their own designs. Yeah, if you have like your own name in diamonds and gold, probably nobody's going to want that unless that's their name too. But how many people have that name? So, yeah, I want to get back to, so yeah, I had talked to them, what if I wanted, the 2 row or 3 row, and then they said, oh, it's too late. So apparently there's a certain time limit once they, fabricate the wax molding and things like that, or something like that. I mean, I probably could have, like, if I pushed them a little bit further, they may have, like, did that, but then they probably charged me more money and things like that. And it was already kind of going over budget anyway with the diamonds and everything. Don't know the carat weight off the top of my head. Um, so yeah, and then the thing is the customer service, was it good? It was okay, you know, but was it really like the greatest service I've ever had in my life that I can say? No, I don't think so, unfortunately. And and that's kind of the thing is, I'm sure if I was like a celebrity or singer or something like that, things would be different, and the turnaround time would probably be faster, which was, I don't recall off the top of my head, but it was probably like a month or more. Um, and I feel like, you really got to know your stuff if you want to do something like this, because I was having a hard time with the backside. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to leave it plain because it was going to get scratched up if it's like a plain, solid gold type of surface. So, and then it really wasn't like too much of help for me, I would say. It ended up being me deciding what I wanted to do with that eventually after like a day or two, I think, and then I got it. So, yeah, and then the other part was um, backside isn't as perfect as I thought it could be. based on their other stuff they had on Instagram, but they said, it's handmade and it's molded and it's not like a Rolex, which is machine made, machined all the parts. Apparently, nothing is handmade unless it's like hand polished type of stuff. So there's things like that. So yeah, there will be issues potentially with porosity. Um, there's a little bit, but not that much. And there's that. So I'm trying to cover a lot of things here, and it's kind of scattered and just not sure exactly what to say here. But um, yeah, if you guys could do me a favor and click the like button, that would really help a lot. And subscribe as well. And the thing is, I was thinking along the lines of if I get 250 likes on this video, that I'll reveal the company that I bought this from, and I'll reveal the backside too. And then, so yeah, I think I've covered everything I want to. There'll be a part 2 of this video at some point. And one thing I really want to share is sort of like my own thoughts at the end of this is one piece of advice that I try to follow, and I feel like it isn't being covered as much as it should, is that people should not blame other people for the bad things that have happened to them. And let me go ahead and explain that in detail. I'm not siding with the other party, and I'm not saying what they did was wrong, but I am saying that there comes a point where you can look at it glass half full, glass half empty. So it's kind of similar to that sort of mentality, is that you have to find some sort of like personal accountability in anything that you do. Why were you there in the first place? Why did you choose this person to be friends with? Why didn't you say no? Why did you choose this company? There's all these red flags, and it ended up being your choice of signing the line, saying yes, whatever it is. Again, not saying that what they did was right. I'm just saying the more that you can think about things in terms of what you did and what you could have done is going to frame things in a better way for you. And I can say for certain that when I started thinking that way, it really changed my life, because there had been times where things have been bad in my life, and for sure 100%, if I told a story, you say the same thing too, that person was responsible, that was their fault, and they should have done this or they should have done that or whatever it was, and nobody would blame me. But it's very important to find a way to have personal accountability. I'm not saying, I mean, it's a tough thing. But again, the better way is to find ways to learn from a certain situation, move on from a certain situation. And I'm not talking about the whole forgiveness and forget type of thing. That's an entirely different lesson. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I just try and do a little final thoughts type of thing. Anyway, it came in this box right here. Certainly one of the nicer boxes, not one of these obvious Chinese made type of boxes. I think that's my own tissue I provide. But yeah, I mean, thanks a lot again. And hopefully I get the likes so I can send you the part 2.